The Crit Show contains elements of horror, fantasy violence, and adult language. Content warnings can be found in the episode description. All right, as promised, Tass and I have made Franken donuts for Jake. I think first you should just comment on them in a way of presentation.
So one of them is a green lidded Tupperware.
Yeah.
One of them is a blue lidded Tupperware.
Yeah.
I'm going to open the green lidded Tupperware. All right, let's see. There's a lot of donut color in here.
Yeah.
Different heights and depths.
A lot of different toppings.
Hold on, let me open the other one so I can...
Yeah.
I don't want to give this like an out of 10.
Yes. Compare and contrast.
Oh, this one...
Oh, that one fell apart.
Yeah, this one has fallen over a little
It
bit.
has.
But it's got a more consistent kind of color palette to it.
Mm.
Yeah. And size of each chunk.
I honestly feel like these are pretty even in terms of presentation. They
Yeah,
both
fair.
got like a flaw or two,
Yeah.
but overall they look pretty nice.
So just for my edification, how many donuts is each one made of?
One of them is 7 donuts, and the other one's I think 10.
Sounds right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that? I think that's its own. That's separate from the red velvet.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, the other one's that's 10.
Nice.
A 7 and a 10.
Which is their ultimate score. Good night, everybody.
Where should I start? Any recommendations? I'm gonna eat.
Yeah.
2 whole Franken donuts.
Yeah.
Are
now.
you really going for it?
I'm probably. I can't see why I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Well,
Unless
yet.
you like happen to hit something that's like, oh, this was a mistake.
I can't go past this. Or I hit something that I'm like, this is the best donut I've ever had, and I can't have another afterwards.
That's true.
fair. Yeah.
You see, I have brought in the rest of my favorite donut, which is, in fact, the red velvet with Oreo and icing.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds delicious.
There's, in that one, your left hand there with the red velvet in it. Obviously, that one's the red velvet. Next to it is like a cheesecake filling, I think. The one with whipped cream on top.
Uh-huh.
There's a couple of donuts with bacon on them.
I see that.
Yeah, one of them is like a maple. Somewhere, a few of them are just good old-fashioned different icing with sprinkles. You can see good old star-spangled in there, some good old-fashioned sprinkles. I think there's one that's chocolate with cherry icing.
Rev, you got input on what's
Yeah,
in here?
The other one, you've got banana cream pie. You have got upside down pineapple cake, or pineapple upside down cake for those of you listening at home. Cherry, chocolate frosted, just a simple powdered, and then I believe a blueberry cake and apple fritter.
Okay.
I'm eating my donut already.
I'm gonna start with the wild box.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start with the wild boys.
Okay.
So this one has a sort of toxic blue frosting on it.
Interesting that you're starting with that one. Oh, wait, maybe that's the one I'm thinking of.
Oh no.
No, just the phrasing you used about wild. We did find a wild berry donut.
Oh, yeah, that
is
is
this-
not it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, we did. Also interesting, that is the first one I put in the box.
Oh, the blue one?
Yeah.
I mean, that tasted like a nice donut. What was it? What was special about that?
It had very blue icing.
That's okay. Cool. This one's kind of nutty.
Oh, yeah. That one has nuts. I forgot that one.
We did discover on the drive there that we should have checked the traffic route at 3 in the morning instead of like 6 in the afternoon, because it took us a half hour less than expected. So we could have left it like 3:15 instead of
245.
2:45.
Yeah.
That one was nice. The nuts was nice.
I think this one has some sort of cream cheese as well, something to it. I forget what that one was.
It tastes cream cheesy.
Yeah.
I saw just a smidge of like maybe a strawberry filling or something. in there.
Yeah.
All right, now we're getting into the bacon donuts, which are a crime. But I'm going to do it for the vine.
The bacon is really good quality. It was really like crispy.
Scott got a pastry at one of like the last stops that was this really delicate looking layered pastry, and then it had some cream cheese in the center of it, and he bit into it and discovered that not just the center of it was cream cheese. Once he got done, he's like, I basically just ate a tub of cream cheese. Like they just put a whole...
I missed that.
Oh,
That's
man.
awesome. Okay, we're on to the sprinkle, good old fashioned.
Yeah, I got through a couple more while you guys were sharing an anecdote.
Have you been ranking them in your head, at least to have the best and the worst one? He's like, at this point, it's just all...
It's all just donut.
It is absolutely like None of these have jumped out. This one's got a nice pink icing on a chocolate donut. I like that.
Yeah, I think it's like a cherry icing.
Yeah.
I think that's probably my favorite so far.
That's definitely one of my
good.
favorites of the trip.
Yeah.
Here's another one with bacon on it.
This is the maple bacon.
Oh, I'm not going to like this.
He does look a little upset.
You're almost through Tass's donut.
All the phrasing around this has been bad. When I got here, Rev was like, we each have a special donut for you. And I was like, that's gross.
But less lascivious than it sounds.
Oh, man. Yeah, bacon and donut, not for me.
Wow.
And maple bacon as a combination, also not for me.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's fair. That one kind of looks like an ice cream sundae or something.
Yeah. Had some whipping cream.
Oh, no. Oh, he's very unhappy about that one.
It was just almost all whipped cream. Like, it was whipped cream, and then, like, to wash it down, just cream cheese flavor. All right, here's Tass's favorite, the red velvet Oreo.
I'm just a really big red velvet fan in general, and so it just appeals to it. It wouldn't even need the icing.
I'm sorry, that just kind of tasted like a donut.
That's fair.
Not. I didn't get much of the red velvet or of the Oreo. Just.
Do you want the rest of mine just to get more of the flavor?
Cleanse your palate.
I don't want to waste your favorite donut that way. I'm sorry, I don't think I deserve it.
So far, the chocolate cherry.
I think the chocolate cherry was the best so far. I think the maple bacon was, and I don't think it was definitely the worst.
Yeah.
You're getting into some gourmet shit over here though with Revs. That banana cream.
I'm gonna start with the banana cream.
Okay.
I feel like I like that. I like bananas. It's got Nilla wafers on it. That's
Yeah.
nice. But I could see this being a divisive donut.
Yeah,
like I could see
sure.
I eat this and I'm like, not as a donut. I don't.
Yeah.
There was one like that we got as well that was like a peach cream.
Mm.
That was like the same style as the banana cream one, and it's so good.
There was one that was wild berry, and
Yeah.
their intent was to make it taste like the Pop-Tart. And so it had like, fuck you, blue icing.
Yeah.
And then silver strips on it. And it was blueberry, strawberry, and blackberry mixed together, I think.
Something like that.
The pineapple upside down cake was so dry.
Would you like some of my soda?
That's not good.
I do want to try that soda, but that's unrelated.
Okay.
Why is that so? Oh, I feel like I'm gonna cough and like dust is gonna shoot out. Yeah, I don't think the banana cream was good as a donut.
Yeah.
I didn't care for that very much. I like the pineapple flavor, but it's a weird texture.
Dry cake.
I'm gonna save this. You said this one's cherry too, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna save that one for last. I'm gonna flip around the other direction. Apple fritter.
They had a banana fritter that didn't have enough banana in it to be like it just tasted like a plain fritter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a fritter.
That was good. You can never go wrong with an apple fritter.
It's true.
It's a
Yeah.
classic.
Especially if they've got a good like apple and cinnamon ratio.
Yeah.
That's an all-American donut.
Yeah. I have the impression that I think the one you're getting ready to eat next is going to be very dry too. Just as a warning.
Blueberry cake was also good. Hard to go wrong. All right, so this is a powdered sugar.
Yeah.
Both powdered sugar, and I've been forewarned that it's dry.
I only say that because when I cut it,
It
it
disintegrated.
crumbled.
I feel like I should
bite too.
I feel like I should like work up a bunch of saliva just to like quell the rebellion when I take a bite into this.
I'm just waiting for a cough, and his mic is just covered in white.
That is not nearly as bad as the pineapple upside down
Oh, well,
cake.
that's good. I feel like I should put a warning at the beginning of this intro. Like, if you don't want to listen to 20 minutes of someone masticating,
Yeah, sorry. If you do like that, though, subscribe to my
Don't let us know.
OnlyFans. All right, this one's just, I think, a chocolate glazed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Simple, humble.
Yeah.
And lastly, this glazed cherry cake donut. Also pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't think that second donut changed my rankings. I think still
Sure.
the cherry iced chocolate donut was
Yeah.
the best, and the maple bacon donut was the worst. So thank
Okay.
you, Tass, for knowing both ends of my spectrum.
You both won and lost.
Yeah. I even out like that through my whole life, so
So-
I will take it.
Yeah, Tass in first, me in second, Tass in third.
The Rev donut is just very, it fit well together. Like it was like just a classic spread.
Yeah.
You know, and Tass was like a deranged alchemist, like just grabbing a little bit of this off the shelf and a little bit of that.
We didn't even really coordinate that well. I was just going fully with which one of these are going to make a hilarious picture.
Oh, I hope you guys got pictures of them.
Yes,
before
we
Oh,
did.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
good.
yeah.
We'll post those in the Discord for anybody who is interested in the Franken donuts.
Yeah. And I'm pleased that not really coordinating that we got like a whole
No
spread
overlap.
of different.
No overlap. That's wild.
Though, out of fairness, we did see literally hundreds of different kinds of donuts
We did.
over that morning.
We did.
All right. Well, I need either a glass of milk or to go throw up, or both, and I'm not sure in what order. This figure leans unsteadily, but the same is not true of the gun in his hand. He has a rock-steady aim on all of you, and he says, "What did y'all do?"
We didn't do anything. Wait, what do you mean? To the scuttler? Because we maybe did that? Unless that's not what you're talking about. Do you mean like the corruption of all the magic? Or like, do you mean the wound in your side?
Oh my God, you're throwing a lot out all at once. The wards, the bubble, it burst. Is that your fault?
Yeah.
Why?
We're not from here. Someone from our universe was channeling that energy into a very large magical spell that was going to have ramifications that spread all across the multiverse.
He points the gun at you. He's from your universe?
Yes, but he is working with every version of him that exists in other universes. I think we're from the same organization, for what that's worth. You and I.
He chuckles. The same organization. What would that be?
A group of like-minded magicians who scour the earth for ley lines and either dole out the energy or use it ourselves and protect it from people who might use it incorrectly.
That's what you do too, is it?
Yeah.
How do I know you ain't just read about that in a book?
Boy, I have no idea if this is going to make sense, but I very slowly raise both of my hands and then I place one of them above my elbow and I draw it down to the palm and then make a bloom, just a small blue trace of magic that blooms, because that is not our handshake, but it is I'm one of you in our universe.
No part of him moves but his eyes, watching you trace that gesture. And you see the flare of that magic reflected in his eyes. You can just do that empty-handed, huh?
Yeah.
That's pretty neat. So that makes you and I kin.
What happened here?
He pauses and just kind of continues to measure all of you for a moment, and then laboriously just puts the gun back in his holster and slumps down against that wall, sits down on the ground. What do you mean, when?
The magic here it's so strong, but it's corrupting everything. And I gather now that you were aware of the domes, and that dome was keeping some of the corruption in, but we were hoping to rid the magic of the corruption, or at least get rid of the magic. It's affecting everything from animals to death, being able to carry souls into the afterlife.
He coughs a bit, and you can see a little bit of blood come up with it. That ain't good. I don't know how bad, or at least I didn't know how bad it was on the surface. Well, where to start? I belong to an order, kind of gestures at you, and our job was to protect the magic in this world. One day out of nowhere, hundreds of years ago, the whole earth quaked. Big chunk of it right underneath our feet just shot up. Me and a small faction of my order were trapped on it. Never could figure out a way to get back down. But when it rose, it exposed a vein, a ley line. Magic started seeping out. Things started getting a little bit wild. Nothing out of control. And we started trying to excavate, find our way to it. That's what we did. We cataloged, we guarded, we pulled from it as necessary, and we found it. And he kind of gestures deeper down this tunnel, the direction that you're all heading. I was stationed here. This was my branch to keep an eye on. But it weren't long after that before some fella came. Don't know how in the hell he got all the way through here. I told him weren't none of his business, he shouldn't be here. And in no delicate terms, he kicked the shit out of me, tossed me aside, did something to the vein, made it sick, and then he left. I couldn't do much of anything. I tried to siphon off some of the magic, help myself recuperate. It's the only thing that kept me from death's door. But by the time I was in any condition to move again, things started changing. Everyday critters was morphing, mutating, becoming sick, becoming rotten. I made my way back up, left this undefended for a spell. but I couldn't find a single other member of my order still around. Things was getting worse, and I didn't know what to do, so I came back down here, sequestered myself at that vein. I saw a gigantic rune circle out on the face of the cliff. I piggybacked a spell off of that to try and lock in as much of that corruption as I could, and I stayed in there with it, just trying to make sure that nothing else could come in and make it any worse. I puzzled over that sickness for centuries now, but I have not been able to figure out how to stop it or how to fix it. And then all at once, a few hours ago, my wards failed. Ain't nothing happened in here, though, so I figured it must have been something on the side, out there at the end of the tunnel. But as soon as they did, all those creepy crawlies that I'd been holding at bay this whole time started making their way in, trying to get to that rich vein. I fought him as much as I could, but he removes his hand and you can see just blood drying in his clothes, pooling from this wound. Some of them are a mite tougher than I am at this point.
I want to take out a handkerchief and go over and offer to help try and clean him up, put some pressure on it.
He's a little bit hesitant at first, but he mellows out and he relaxes and accepts your help. Oh, thank you kindly. He looks up at you, Rev. What's your name, brother?
Rev.
And he looks at the two of you as well.
Hi, I'm Kim.
I'm Megan.
This is Jumbo.
Jumbo waves silently from the back. This man tips his hat. Well, it's nice to make your acquaintance. My name is Silas Coldiron. I ain't spoken to another human soul in nigh on 400 years now, if I've been keeping track right.
Are members of your organization ordinarily so long-lived?
Don't think so.
I imagine the proximity to such strong magic probably helped out a bit with that.
I think you're right. I mean, we tended to be a bit above the average, but not like this.
Could we accompany you to the ley line and take a look at it? I don't doubt that you have pored over this, but the three of us were all different kinds of practitioners. They can sense and see things that are outside of my bounds and vice versa.
I can try and lead you back there, but there's going to be some things in the way now.
Well, you don't have to fight him alone this time.
He looks at Jumbo. What kind of magic do you do? Jumbo just shrugs. Oh, yeah, he puts up his dukes.
This one's thunder, this one's lightning.
This one's Abra. This one's Cadabra.
What kind of magic do you do? And then for the first time, Jumbo just does like a magical girl transformation.
Imagine.
He looks exactly the same, except he's in just a skin-tight, like spandex leotard.
Perfect.
He's got sparkles in his eyes.
Someone on the Discord mentioned that their headcanon for Jumbo was Patrick Warburton. And I responded, if it was Patrick Warburton, you'd know, because Jake does a wonderful impression of Patrick Warburton.
Silas puts a hand on the wall and starts trying to struggle his way back up to his feet. I couldn't tell you what exactly's in there. And he kind of looks around and gestures at all of the various, like, burrows and tunnels. Again, I've been locked inside my bubble for a long time. I've seen some things come and scratch at it every now and again, but I don't know what makes all these. I just know that I ain't never seen the same creature twice. The one that got me seemed like maybe once upon a time it was a mole. Something that dug, but is the size of a goddamn bear. Don't know what else might be waiting in the dark for us.
Well, that's what this is for. And I'll levitate the oil lamp ahead of us and illuminate the path forward.
He starts to hobble back down this path, and Jumbo hustles ahead and, like, gets his arm around his shoulder so that he can support him. Silas says, "Follow me," and he starts leading you through this winding path. As you all walk, he has questions. He says, "So who was that fella that laid me out all them years ago? Never did do me the courtesy of giving me a name."
That would be a man or a vampire known as Gregory Nash. He is now playing host, I suppose, to the god of death from our world.
He, like, kind of stops walking for a second and, like, shakes his head, starts hobbling along again with Jumbo's help. That's a whole lot of concepts that I never even scratched the surface of.
We've met your death. He's charming.
He's lovely.
Yeah, he's really nice.
Well, I'm glad to hear it.
Nash has been going around to all sorts of worlds and corrupting them and polluting them in order to fuel this big ritual he's trying to do. over on our world. But now that he is death, it's become even more corrupted than it once was. Nash and Death are now trying to take control of all of the deaths from every world in the multiverse and make them all Nash, all him, and that's a terrifying prospect.
I don't know much about the gentleman, but he sure weren't much of a peach when I encountered him, so yeah, I'd imagine we don't want more of him running around.
He has the potential to be great, but overall, yeah, not a great plan.
To hear you tell it, you sound like a highly capable group of people. How come you ain't taken care of him yet?
Because if we did, whatever the thing is he set up, it's running already. And if any part of it was left intact, it would slowly rebuild itself.
He's also far older and smarter, I guess the word. He's had a lot of time to plan and perfect this idea of how things are going to go. And he's got a lot of people and places, and a lot of it we don't know of. And even though together we're very strong and, yes, very capable, this isn't something you can just rush headlong into.
I got a vision of all of us enacting a ritual of our own to pull Death out of Nash and stop him for good. It's closer than we think, but the time isn't right yet.
Yeah, it happened some number of centuries ago where Death was inside of a vessel, and the gods and some other people got together to deal with him, and not all of the gods survived.
And that was his doing?
I guess I don't know exactly the details of it, but whether it was the energy they had to pour into the spell or the fight they were having on some plane of existence that we couldn't comprehend, it destroyed 3 of the gods who took part in the ritual.
He lets out a low whistle. I guess I got off a bit easy then, didn't I?
I imagine he was just toying with you. I'm sorry if it sounds rude to say, but I can imagine he didn't see you as much of an obstacle, especially if you were left here to guard all of this alone. That's a lot for one person. I'm sorry you've had to take that on all by yourself and that you had to face him by yourself. I'm glad you made it through to be here now.
We're also kind of hoping that works in our favor in the future, now that he's got Death inside of him and it's affecting him in whatever way. I'm not sure how big of a threat he sees everyday people.
I can't imagine. I mean, I used to think of myself as a big shit before he showed up.
Can I try to read Silas?
Yeah, absolutely. Why don't you roll read a person?
I'm concerned that there's something he hasn't shared with us. 8.
Okay, you get 1 question.
Is your character telling the truth?
Yes. So far, he has been totally straight with you. I think, just by nature of conversation, like, you don't know everything there is to know about him yet, but he has not told you a lie. He is genuinely on your side.
I don't know if I can get this from that, but is there any indication that he's holding something back? Like, not that, he hasn't told us everything, but that there's anything he's hesitant to say.
No.
Great.
Was that no a response?
Is there anything he's holding back? No.
Okay. Not a no to the, is there a way for me to find that out? Okay.
No, he is clearly a bit guarded.
Yeah.
And, a bit gun shy, but he is being straight with you all.
Okay. Because the no and the great worked in both contexts. So I wasn't sure which one was. No, great.
So how deep does this go? What does this open up into?
It goes miles and miles. It doesn't exactly open up into much of anything. When I was on the surface, I know that there was a spike, a middle portion that went taller than everything else. I assume that's still the case.
Yeah.
Best I can figure, this chunk of the ley line is just deep in the roots of that spike. We'll hit a pocket, sort of. Not exactly a wall, but you'll see it when we get there. But it ain't like that whole middle is hollow or nothing like that. It's just a dead end and a sturdy vein of magic.
Gotcha. Okay. I've really only been around ley lines like once before, and even uncorrupted, it was tempting. So I can understand why all of these animals would be drawn to it like they are.
Well, it's peculiar. What you're saying, a ley line, a clean one, it is inviting. It's life. It's warmth. So yeah, creatures are drawn to it like you're drawn to a comfortable campfire. But whatever he did to it, it's not that it don't do those things anymore. There's just something extra something tainted about it. It's like a drug. They don't just want to come to it because it's safe and healing. They're pulled to it. I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel that same pull. And I would imagine that despite keeping me alive, it has taken its toll on me. But I still got 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head, so it ain't done me too dirty yet. As he's talking, Rev, you feel a bit of a vibration through the cave wall on your right.
Does everybody else feel that? There's something moving nearby on the right side.
Does it feel like footsteps or digging?
More like digging.
It's like digging.
Like a bear-sized mole?
Whoa, probably.
Silas stops, and he draws his gun again. Where you feel that?
I'll indicate on the wall.
He reaches down and pulls out a boot knife and walks over to that wall, and you see him start etching something into it. Looks runic in nature. And he kind of has his other hand on the rock. How long you feel like we got to you?
Probably less than a minute.
He nods, and you see him like adjust one of these runes a little bit. And he steps back after a few seconds. Rev, you can see that he has carved some kind of small circular glyph on the wall where you have indicated. And those carvings start to glow with an amber energy around the ring. But you see it start shrinking away around the top of the ring from the top, as if a timer is counting down.
Cool.
We should go, shouldn't we?
Well, we should at least back up.
I'm going to get back, but I'm trying to like crane my neck to understand the symbols that he used.
He's stolen my sketch pad and he's trying to draw them.
He stole your sketch pad and he's drawing it out. And then suddenly the sketch pad starts timing down.
No. All my
Not
works.
my beautiful nudes of Sharp Shot.
I got it in one.
My beautiful and imaginative nudes. Yeah, Rev, why don't you investigate?
Okay.
Again, this isn't exactly in a human settlement,
Mm.
so I don't know
But
if
it's
this is
about
the...
human stuff.
Listen, this is where a human is settled.
That's fair. I think because this is like
His home.
Centuries.
and just a thing done by a human here. Like you're not in. This isn't about the wild.
Yeah.
So I don't think this one needs to be a tracking survival. I think you can roll
Okay.
the investigate move with investigate.
9.
Okay, so I give you one relevant fact.
Okay.
And I think the form that basically takes is you'll be able to do this
Oh, cool.
in the future.
Okay.
This is a spring trap glyph that when this hits its timer or trigger, a ward is going to shoot out from it. It is going to trap whatever is in its vicinity, but it is not strong. It's not going to keep it there. It's not going to last. This is like a buy you an advantage move.
Yeah. Okay.
And you all watch as that light ticks down. You all feel that rumbling of the digging getting stronger, and then a hole opens in that wall beneath the glyph. A creature comes tunneling out, and it's very much as he described. It looks like some kind of mole that has been made enormous and freakish. It doesn't seem to have any eyes. It has a long snout that's got like feelers on the end of it. Its feet end in long, sharp claws, like Bowie knife length claws. It's got a big, broad chest and like tall back, but it gets a lot more slender towards the back. And it comes out of this hole and it's sniffing furiously, and it sniffs up just in the direction of all of you on the opposite side of the tunnel, and it roars. And then the light of that glyph ticks down to nothing, and magic bursts from it, and a bubble of this amber energy washes over this creature right as it tries to lunge, and it hits the surface of this magic and falls backwards, recoils, shaking its head, unable to escape.
Frickin' well done.
Seeing it like sniffing at the air, I'm going to lean over to Kim. Sorry, I'm going to slough off some of the scuttler that's like on her clothing.
God, okay.
And I want to basically blast some of it into its face so it thinks a larger predator is here.
Okay.
Rev, so fucking smart.
Yeah, you're on fire today.
Thanks.
I don't know that there's a role for this. I think that you gambled on whether or not this would work.
Oh, okay.
Just based on what you know, but you You throw some of this shit in its face, and it goes from growling and like sniffing around to it backpedals, and it walks backwards into its hole and turns around and like yelps and screeches as it runs the fuck back into its tunnel.
I had a feeling that there probably wasn't a lot of stuff here that fucked with the scuttler.
That makes sense. Great job.
Silas says, "Yeah, great job. That is not how I was prepared to deal with that situation."
Yeah, I mean, it seemed like it was directly coming for us, but again, these were just all natural creatures at some point. They've been mutated and messed up by the corruption in this magic, but fighting our way through all of them is probably not the smartest way to handle this. I don't know what's going to happen when we destroy that source of corruption, but maybe we can just get out of here in one piece and not have to deal with them as they are.
That's a mighty fine sentiment, and y'all are clearly a clever group. That one worked. I hope that it'll work on all of them, but I can't imagine that's the only thing we're going to run across on this journey.
No, I imagine not.
Yeah, let's keep headed down the tunnel.
Silas puts an arm around Jumbo again, this time on the opposite side so that he can keep his gun hand at the ready. After a few minutes, this winding cavern straightens out a bit, and along its length, you can see very faint glow. It's actually entirely overpowered, washed out just by the lantern light that you are casting in here. But you can see a bit of that amber and blue, a little bit of like glimmering just in thin strands along the walls.
Wow, this creeps out far. I think this is coming from all the energy at the center.
Gosh, even corrupted, it's so pretty.
Silas, when you've used this to heal yourself, what did it feel like?
Well, the day he beat me, it felt, well, normal's a relative term, but you know, the sensation of magic. I mean, that was the only time that I sought after it. That was the only time that I tried to use it to make myself whole again. It started out more or less fine. I didn't know what exactly he had done. And over time, it started to, the only word I can think of is tingle. It wasn't unpleasant. Actually, maybe the opposite. It was just curious. But I knew it was wrong. I ain't tried to tap into it again since. It leaches into me. I know that, but without having been able to determine what exactly is wrong with it, I don't want to end up like all these other critters down here.
Can I look at the pattern of the magic flowing through and try to get a sense of, like, is this a stream that has blood in it? Is there, is there something else inside of it that's flowing through? Is it as a whole changed? I'm not sure if that makes sense.
I get what you're saying. Like has something mixed in with the energy, or is there like a stone connected to it that is poisoning the entire thing? Like,
yeah.
To try and determine what would the removal process look like for this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm inclined to make this more of a weird roll. I think there's going to be an element of like having to tap into this, for lack of a better word, rather than just observing it.
Sure.
I think this is going to be a little bit tough. I think this is going to be weird level 5. You're sort of on the track of like reading the mind of a creature against its will. I think that's kind of what you're doing here. Like you are tapping into something that doesn't want to be fucked with.
Yeah. And I do have a -1 left over from a previous
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, no, right.
7.
Okay.
And yeah, I imagine like putting a hand on this ley line and seeing little tendrils of the magic like running from finger to finger and almost like having to cat's cradle it between my hands to be able to actually study it properly.
As you do that, Silas is not exceedingly mobile, but like right as you're reaching for it, he tries to kind of like make his way over, like he wants to stop you.
Yeah.
Like he's worried about it. But you pull some of this magic out and he sees you like holding it, like containing it, and he waits. He seems surprised at your ability. Watching this magic dance between your fingertips, watching it move from point A to point B, you can feel that even removed from its source here, it is sick. That whatever's wrong with it has permeated through the veins. It's not like a blockage or one particular source. It's like in like a water system, somebody dumped ink into it.
Yeah.
And, it's not going to be just a matter of plucking out one thing. There's like a filtration that's going to be necessary to cleanse it all.
I think that after a moment of looking at it, I make a few symbols with my hands and cast that energy like down into the earth and kind of flex my hands. Almost feels like they're tingling, almost like there's a little like arthritis buildup or something for a brief moment. It's in there. Like it's like when you make Kool-Aid. You got clear water, you add the packet, and the whole thing is Kool-Aid.
Instant corruption.
Yeah. We'd have to make some kind of a filter or something and then somehow cycle or push the magic through it.
Well, when we get eyes on it, I can try to get a vision to see exactly what Nash did to corrupt it in the first place. I don't know if knowing that will help us better understand what we need to do.
Oh, that's true. Like if you know what he put in,
Yeah.
maybe there's some kind of counter agent or something.
I have an idea for how we can move the energy through if we create some sort of like magic filter pump, but I think we're going to need to get more to the source to do that, right? These are all the like ends of the veins and we got to get closer to the heart.
Yeah.
Silas hobbles over towards you, Rev, and he like puts a hand on your shoulder and he's like looking in your eyes, like trying to just me? Like he's trying to determine something. He says, "You feeling all right?"
Yeah. My hands are a little sore. I put a lot of time into focusing magic, not just through my whole body, but through parts. And so I kind of kept it all contained in my hands. I think that's why they're a little rough feeling right now.
He looks down at your hands as you're flexing them and like takes one of your hands and kind of like looks at it palm up. Y'all are something else. I ain't never met a caster before what could manipulate magic without a focus.
I actually do have one that I use generally. That's what I did's not recommended, but it's doable.
He chuckles. He draws his gun, and up close you can see that it's etched. There is a pattern etched through the iron that makes up the barrel and the cylinder of this. It looks runic. It looks magical in nature. And he says, more or less the only way I've ever been able to handle magic is through this. He just touches the tip of the barrel to that ley line, and you see it start to like glow like heating metal, like just a little bit. He just leaves it there for a moment and then pulls it away. You can see that like orange glow on the tip of it, and it quickly starts to fade like it's cooling.
Oh, yeah, we don't have to get too much into magical theory, but what I was doing with my hands, I'm essentially creating symbols like what's on your gun, but in the air, and the magic is like remembering them for a short time.
He smiles, and he says, I would love to have a discussion about the elasticity and the memory of magical energy signatures with you. It's been an extremely long time since I've had the pleasure of talking about anything like this with anybody. Let's try and take care of business first, and then, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to pick your brain.
Yeah. I think that whole time that he was saying that the elasticity of magical memory and stuff, that my face just lights up.
As we start heading out, I just want to pull Megan aside and whisper, are you detecting a vibe between the two of them, or is it just me?
Well, I was thinking that we've got like a new grandpa to add to our grandpa collection.
No, I'm hardcore shipping Silas and Sewer Guy now.
Silas and Super Guy, that's my favorite comic duo.
That's our spin-off. Silas and Sewer Guy.
You make your way down the rest of this straightaway where the narrow tendrils of the ley line fade back away, and it gets quite dark. The tunnel gets a little bit narrower even still, maybe 10 feet in diameter at this point. Again, not claustrophobic, but not lots of room to move. And Silas is navigating via the lantern light, and you start to notice a change in like the structure, like the shape of the face of the rock on the walls of the tunnel. It looks kind of pitted, little like baseball-sized divots all over. And it seems to take Silas a moment to notice, but then he does, and he starts kind of looking around at it, and he stops. Oh, hell. This one I have seen before. And he kind of looks over all of you. What's y'all's clothes made of?
Cotton, linen.
Leather.
What they said.
Yeah, don't get any on you.
Don't get any what on us.
And you see a glob of some viscous, toxic-looking fluid
What are your clothes made out of?
hit the floor in between all of you and start to eat away at the stone.
Critshow is a Critshow Studios production, edited and produced by Brandon Wentz with music by Jake Purley. You can find more information about us at thecritshowpodcast.com. To keep up to date with upcoming live shows, contests, and other special events, follow us at The Crit Show on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. For even more weekly content, join us at patreon.com/thecritShow.